Chapter 989 of One Piece just came out officially, and it's quite the chapter. A lot went down and it finishes on a very, very high note. And best of all, there's no break next week. If you'd like to see my live reaction to the chapter, the link to it will be in the description, but without further ado, let's dive right into discussing this chapter. We're going to be taking this chronologically, as always. To kick it off, we have the cover story, which I personally don't really enjoy talking about, but I'm going to brush over it regardless because I know some of you guys want to hear my thoughts on that. It turns out Pound luckily has some proof to show his daughters, which means we can expect them to believe him and accept him as their father, hopefully meaning this cover story should end in a few more installments. It's been a very long drawn out cover story, and at this point my main question is, what is the point? Why has Oda taken his time to draw this, and how is it going to tie into the main storyline of the series, considering nearly all cover stories in the past have had some sort of plot significance? I just don't know how this is going to happen. Potentially Beji is going to make his way towards Wano, but nothing in the cover story so far has insinuated or alluded to that, so we're going to have to see how it ends. That's enough about that though. Let's dive into the actual chapter content, what you guys are here for. Things pick up right where they left off in the last chapter, with Big Mom on the ground and, Frankie hugging Nami. I think this panel is hilarious, and just overall the lightheartedness of the Straw Hats is quite entertaining. However, I don't think this is a fitting tone for a battle with such enormous stakes. They're currently in the presence of a Yonko and are about to engage in a life or death battle. Hopefully we get a massive tone shift in the coming chapters and we see the Straw Hats begin to take things a little more seriously, because although I find the comedic nature of their behaviour very entertaining, I would much prefer them to be 100% serious and appreciate the gravity of current events. This isn't something that feels awkward with just the Straw Hats either. The Yamato, Shinobu and Momonosuke gag felt weirdly placed and, although hilarious, takes away from the seriousness of current events. Don't get me wrong guys, I absolutely love the comedy in One Piece and I think it should always be there, but I do hope it can get a bit more serious and I hope it changes. I want this to feel somewhat reminiscent of Marineford. In Marineford there were no jokes and gags among the major players. Outside of the occasional comedic buggy panel, it was incredibly serious and the high stakes were very evident. You could feel the tension, you could feel the pressure of battle. Hopefully Oda can replicate that feeling by creating some sort of tonal shift in the next few chapters. Maybe we get a death, a reality check, something that reminds them that this is a serious life or death situation. Moving on though, and we get the scenes with Big Mom. Big Mom has been utterly incompetent for a few chapters now, and I have to say I'm not the biggest fan of this treatment. She was built up to be a menacing and all-powerful foe in Whole Cake Island, and even though we know she's capable of doing incredible things, she hasn't been coming across as intimidating lately. She doesn't have that presence that she once did. The fact that Robin and Jinbei can do what they did to her is pretty astonishing, and not in a good way. Like, don't get me wrong guys, I absolutely love the fact that Robin got some spotlight and has some feats under her belt now. We have been starved of Robin content for a while now, but I definitely wasn't expecting to get that Robin content at the expense of a Yonko, at the expense of Big Mom. Regardless, I do think something major is in the works pertaining to Big Mom, and we can expect her to do something crazy and impressive in the coming chapters. Hopefully. Jinbei did say she's coming back, so we can definitely expect her to get in Luffy's way and prevent him from going up to fight against Kaido, which he is hell-bent on doing. Moving on though, I have gotta say guys, Frankie is the goddamn MVP of this chapter. His quote to Nami about Luffy being the man who will one day become the Pirate King was amazing and is definitely gonna go down as an iconic moment of Frankie. Frankie has been awesome lately, and even though I'm not the biggest fan of how Big Mom is treated, I appreciate the love Oda has been given Frankie, even if it is at the expense of Big Mom, because bro, Frankie has just been great. Not only was Frankie the MVP of the chapter against Big Mom, but he attacked one of the numbers too. He actually called them all-sized, so we do have a bit of a scale on how big they are, which is great, because the numbers are now introduced officially. We get some very cool lore about them and find out that they are the failed attempts at ancient giants that were created on Punk Hazard. Hopefully we get some further lore and exposition on them because they're definitely fascinating. And if these monsters were once humans, then that's insane. Then Oda's definitely gone down a very dark route with introducing these characters, but we'll see. I don't know if they were human. That's just a hunch or guess that I've made. And I'm excited. I'd love to see what Oda has in store for us when it comes to them, because they could be a part of something much bigger and darker than, you know, they initially come across as. They could be connected to Vegapunk as a character, connected to SSG, so we'll see. I guess time will tell. Moving on, and we finally get to the final scenes of the chapter. We get a cool little interaction between Luffy and Zoro, who are trying to go up to fight Kaido, and Luffy is hell-bent on sending Kaido flying. Surprisingly to most, Zoro is also hell-bent on going up to fight against Kaido. People are shocked about this and for some reason think that this is out of character and hasn't been set up. Those people couldn't be further from the truth. The fact of the matter is, this is one of the first times, or if not the first time, Zoro has ever fought with a motive. Back in Skypiea, he told Ohm that he doesn't like to fight with a motive, that he doesn't fight for the sake of revenge. But we both know that Oda established a motive for Zoro in this arc. He intends to avenge Yasui, and Yasui's final words were, "Go to Onigashima, avenge your fallen liege." In order to avenge Yasui, you have to go to Onigashima, defeat Kaido, free Wano. A lot of people seem to believe that avenging Yasui means killing Orochi because Orochi killed Yasui, but that was never the case. Avenging Yasui means saving Wano, defeating Kaido, coming through on Yasui's wishes. Zoro's not only pursuing vengeance either, he also intends to come through on the request that Hiyori made. Hiyori asked him to protect Wano. She asked him and Kawamatsu that in chapter 954 if I recall correctly, and that is what he intends to do. So Zoro showcasing intent to fight Kaido is very natural and is what we should be expecting of him. A lot of people reading this chapter were shocked about that and acting like it's totally out of character when it's completely within the parameters of what Oda has been setting up. Back to the chapter though, and Luffy and Zoro are intercepted by King and Queen, who both block their route of getting to Kaido, and we see Sanji getting up on the next page. He's a little bloody and dirty because of the crash impact, but thankfully he isn't in any major danger because of the raid suit. He can rely on its durability even though he doesn't like the suit that he's wearing. Flip the page, and then we get the final spread of the chapter, which just looks absolutely fucking amazing, guys. When I saw this spread and I was like, boy, that is a spread. We have the entire crew together with Jinbei and they just look incredible. I think this is the first time Jinbei has been in a manga spread with the entire crew since he's joined. Yeah, it definitely is the first time he's been in a spread with them since he joined. So that is great to see, and I'm glad because it makes Jinbei feel like an official Straw Hat, even though we know he's been an official Straw Hat for a while. And then we get just cool dialogue all around on this spread. Luffy and Zoro are itching to get up there and fight Kaido, and if you look carefully, it seems like Zoro is reaching for his bandana, guys. It's time. We haven't seen Bandana Zoro since Dressrosa, which was hundreds of chapters ago, but it seems like he's finally making a return. I mean, it's earlier than I expected, but we're getting right down to business right here, right now. King and Queen are blocking the way of Luffy and Zoro, and the rest of the Straw Hat crew are prepared to get down to business too. Luffy tells them, "Watch my back, take care of the small fry, I'm gonna go fight Kaido," and it's just a great moment for him. And interestingly enough, Sanji notices the flying devil fruit users, which tells me he could have a role to play in the fights coming up soon, but for the most part I am still comfortable in my belief that Zoro is fighting King. We'll see though, because discussing matchups, although fun, can be pointless when you consider that next chapter or the chapter after that is going to give us the answers we're looking for anyway. One thing I'm very confident on though is that Big Mom is gonna make a return soon, and Luffy's gonna be forced to fight her here. I don't know if it's going to be a long drawn out battle. I don't know if it's going to be the full final battle of Big Moms. Whether or not that battle is completed here, who knows. But I definitely think we're getting some Luffy versus Big Mom action. That has been set up for far too long, and this seems like a good stage for that. And I feel like it would be fitting if she is like the final wall that Luffy must overcome before going to Kaido. Overall though guys, I really enjoyed this chapter, and if you're a subscriber of mine, you probably saw my live reaction where I thoroughly enjoyed the chapter live. I'll be doing that every Friday for every chapter. Hopefully I don't get spoiled. And yeah, overall man, I definitely have my criticisms as I've discussed, but for the most part, amazing chapter. I am so excited for next week's chapter, and I really hope Oda can get that tone shift going in the coming chapters, and I hope that Big Mom is painted in a bit more of a competent light, because right now that's like the only thing that's been bugging me lately with One Piece. Outside of those two little criticisms with the tone and Big Mom, I'm actually really satisfied with One Piece lately. I've enjoyed every chapter thoroughly ever since we got on Onigashima, which is always great because we're nearing chapter 1000, and I really hope Oda has something in mind for that. Perhaps Mr. Morge's infamous theory of the raid ending in failure is going to happen on chapter 1000. Perhaps that's what's being built up. And something that's very interesting about that is the title of this chapter. This chapter is titled I Can't Imagine Losing, and that's what Hyogoro says towards the end of the chapter when he sees all of the Straw Hats standing together. It feels like he could be jinxing them, and Morge's theory of the raid ending in failure could come to fruition. But then again, time will tell, because right now Oda is doing an amazing job of making everything feel shrouded in ambiguity. This could go in 100 different directions, and that's what makes the weekly One Piece read so much more exciting for me. But that's it for my chapter review though, guys. Like the video if you enjoyed, subscribe if you're new here, and as always, share your thoughts in the comment section down below. I've been Fiji. Peace.